spread. So this is how I joined a destination marketing agency called Toposophy. So I help out with all their influencer relations. I'm also part of a wonderful network of very creative, talented storytellers called iAmbassador, and I'm the creative concepts guy there. I've been lucky to be featured in many amazing newspapers and magazines, Guardian, New York Times, Lonely Planet, and I have written a book about luxury hostels, which I'm going to talk about later in the presentation. I'm also founder of a storytelling project around cool, quirky festivals you've never heard of, and it's called Must Love Festivals. So, getting straight into the topic today, I'm going to first of all give a little bit of background of why I think it's really important that we now embrace creative storytelling, particularly in this day and age and this particular moment in time. And then I'm going to try and inspire you with some examples of some projects that I've been personally involved in, and also some stories of other people, of other storytellers, of what they're doing at the moment, to give you an idea of what level of creativity is out there. So, why do we need creative storytellers? I'm going to start with a slightly negative note. I currently feel that at the moment there is a lack of creativity in content and blogging. I'm not going to say the death of travel blogging, but I feel that there's a big transformation going on at the moment. I also find, as a content creator, I find destination marketing to be quite dull and boring and lacking in creativity sometimes. And as a content creator, sometimes I find it very frustrating not to be given the trust of destinations to tell their story. And at the moment, it's a bit crazy at the moment, the world of digital storytelling. There's this wonderful platform that this guy created called Snapchat. And then the competition decided to clone it and call it Instagram Stories, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of Instagram Stories. I can't get my head around Snapchat. I might be just too old for Snapchat, but I love Instagram Stories. But then I think it was yesterday, they announced Facebook Stories. And I don't know why you need to have so many clones of the same thing. It's just, for me, I feel it's the lack of creativity and innovation at the moment, and I feel they could do better. Something that's a hot topic, I think, that's been discussed in many forums at ITB this year is what are the key challenges that the industry faces when it comes to working with content creators and influencers. This is a study that was done by a company called Tap Influence. This is not for the travel industry, this is for the whole influencer marketing industry. And naturally, ROI is a big concern for most destination marketeers. And as budgets are increasing and more people are spending money on influencers, they're naturally concerned about the return on investment. Yes. But I'm here mainly from the perspective as a content creator, and my message to the industry is, it's running faster than me. My message to the industry is that the whole obsession with ROI, I feel personally, is killing the blogger influence industry. Bloggers are not marketeers. We understand marketing. We love talking about marketing, but first and foremost, our main passion is to tell stories. And whenever we have a conversation sitting down with marketeers, the first and main concern for marketeers naturally is about, what do I get by investing in you? And when you start the conversation from that perspective, I feel it's a downhill conversation. I've quoted a very prominent influencer who had a recent experience with a destination marketing organization. She's very well established. She's been doing for now almost 6 years. And this destination said, they didn't give me a number. They rejected her application to come and cover their destination because her numbers were not big enough, and they told her to reach out once she was more grown and established. And this is a very prominent, really credible storyteller who's been doing it for almost 5 years. But the worst thing they did was the same form letter that they sent to her, they sent to her friend and to a couple of other friends, and word spreads very quickly in the blogging world. So for me, it was quite sad to hear that, because this is a destination I really admire. I'm not going to name names here, but I just feel at the moment we're focusing too much on numbers. And what does that mean in terms of what content's being produced out there? I feel at the moment we're in this era of industrialization of content. Content has become an industry, and it's kind of losing its soul a little bit. We're in danger of losing its soul. It hasn't lost its soul yet. We're still in a position where we can rescue the situation. So the kind of content that's being produced by content creators, bloggers, and influencers is along these lines. This is perfectly good content. I have nothing against lists. I think lists are fantastic. I even do lists on my blog. But I'll get around to what I think is wrong here. So things that you have: top 10 things to do, 12 ways to get paid to travel the world, top 7 travel blogs, the kind of things that you search every day in Google. But what's happening is, I think we're entering a phase of list fatigue, where ordinary travelers are getting fed up. And this is a girl I met in a hostel in Lisbon. I was staying in last week, and I got a few of the travelers around the table, and I asked them what they thought about blogs, and all of them named me at least 5 or 6 bloggers. All of them read blogs. So there's no doubt that travelers really love and trust blogs. But one of the things that they were telling me is that I'm tired of looking at lists and roundups. I want to see something a bit more in-depth. So what kind of things should we be focusing on as bloggers and in the industry? I think we should be focusing less on ROI, and what I think we should be focusing on is called MOI. I didn't coin this term. This is coined by a gentleman called Andrew Davis, who was a keynote speaker at a conference I was involved in Hamburg called the Social Travel Summit. And moments of inspiration, how do I describe it? He described it as, after seeing the recent James Bond movies, the first thing he wanted to do was go and buy cufflinks. And he didn't really expect to go and buy cufflinks, but having been inspired by the James Bond movie, he suddenly was triggered to do something that was something he didn't plan to do. And this is the way we should be looking at travel. We should be looking at creating content that makes people think differently about the destination and makes them do something that they originally were not planning to do. So for me, the key message I want to tell you here today, if you take anything from my talk today, is that we need to bring the fun factor back to storytelling. We need to be a bit brave. We need to get off the beaten path. We need to create more inspirational moments for our readers and travelers, for our people coming to our destination. And we need to get creative in our storytelling. So, now to the fun, inspirational part of the talk. I've got a couple of examples to show you. And I'm very proud to be presenting the premiere, world premiere of our latest project. It was a campaign we developed with the German National Tourism Office, with Jan and Elif and Denise and the team from GNTO. And we had this conversation 2 years ago at ITB about, Jan told me, what do you think about street art, Kash? And I said, I love street art. And he says, what creative ideas have you got? And I said, why don't we do a road trip through Germany talking about street art? And that was quite a brave, gutsy move, because not every day I get that reaction from a destination saying, let's do something cool and different. So we worked with this gentleman called Mark Hoffmeyer, who's part of a video storytelling collective called Storytellers. And it was an iAmbassador project. And here is the video. Well, this is not the video. So what do we do? The whole emphasis of the project for us was visual storytelling, because that's how we feel today's generation loves reading stories. So it's still content, but we're looking at things and new platforms like Instagram stories. So we did lots of Instagram stories. We went to over 10 cities in 12 days. So this was a road trip and a half. It was quite hectic, it was quite fast-paced. And every site we went to, we met street artists in each and every city, and they showed us their city. And this is the video.
I think it's inspiring to just walk through a city and maybe stumble onto some graffiti or even some street art. That's what I find most interesting about a place, and that's what I'm searching for. I just love that there are people out there who do things they believe in without any thoughts of profiting from it. Just doing something out of passion. I think graffiti and street art can show us in a very honest way the thoughts and feelings of people who inhabited a city without being filtered through the media or even through the art world. Urban art murals can really beautify public space, but also there's street art which tries to convey something more. Statements can be political, yes. It can be radical, but it can also just be, I was here. There are billboards and posters. It's so refreshing for me to see images that aren't trying to sell anything. In some ways, street art was the first kind of social media. You put a statement out in the world and it reaches millions of people. Street art is free speech, the most radical kind of free speech. Nobody's controlling what you say, and nobody's controlling how you experience it. I think graffiti and street art has evolved over the years in so many ways. I really like that it's a living, changing art form. Street art has the potential to beautify public space. That's why I tell people, take a walk. I think it helps us reclaim our cities, to remind people that cities were built for people, they belong to people. I think sometimes politics and advertising and newspapers don't really say anything meaningful to people, so we really need statements that are relevant to the public. Street art is free. To experience it, all you need to do is walk.
So yeah, that. Thank you. Mark isn't here, but I wish he was here, and I think the GNT are here. So thank you for inviting us, and thank you for taking the chance and putting this project together. And we had so many amazing reactions after. So that's the crew. One Snapchat, the queen of Snapchat, Gloria. We had a very prominent upcoming Instagrammer called Sabina from Girl vs. Globe, a video filmmaker, Peter Parkour from Travel Unmasked, and Mark is the guy in the middle. And the reaction we got was amazing, because not many people would have thought about coming to Germany and exploring street art. But we had so many comments and people saying, I really exactly want to recreate this amazing journey that you guys had. And suddenly you've got a new niche and a new theme for your destination. We had 21.3 thousand mentions of the hashtag till date, and 15.7 thousand engagements. And the opportunity to see with 31.6 million with an AVE of 484,900 euros. I've just been on stage now talking about ROI, and there I'm talking about ROI right there. I'm kind of contradicting myself, but for those of you who wanted to know the ROI, that slide is especially for you. Going on to a different project that I was also very excited to be involved in last year with Toposophy, the destination marketing agency I work for. This is a project called This is Athens. So Athens, as many of you know, has been undergoing through a very painful, tough transition in recent years. This image of the city has taken a battering in the media. A lot of people have been scared by the images of riots they've been seeing on the TV screens. So the city of Athens wanted to get out a message to the world to say that Athens is open for tourism and is actively wanting you to come. And what they did was they created a greeter scheme called This is Athens, where 300 volunteers from the city who are passionate about the city are welcoming tourists for free and showing them their city. So the whole idea was to engage locals, and to activate this campaign, they decided to bring in some bloggers. So the first stage of the campaign, what we did an experience design workshop where we gathered all the stakeholders that are involved in Athens Tourism Board to give their bucket list of experiences of what they love about Athens. And the whole idea was to gather all these bucket list experiences and then put it onto a microsite that they could share with tourists and also with bloggers. So what they did was they created 6 different types of personas, 6 different types of travelers that are coming to Athens: luxury, culture, food, gastronomy, budget, couples, LGBT. We covered all those personas, and we invited 8 bloggers to match those personas. This is the website, This is My Athens. So if you Google This is My Athens, you'll come up with the website where you will meet local Athenians, like this gentleman here, Nikos, who are proud and waiting for you in Athens to show their destination. And it doesn't cost you a single penny. So we were matchmaked to these locals, like Nikos, and they showed us their city. That's me with my local greeter, Andreas, over there in the middle. And it was such a fun trip because of these guys. They showed us the city as they would show their friend. And in any feedback you've been doing with any of your visitors, the number one thing that most people say is, I want to travel and meet locals. And in this sense, a greeter scheme like this is fantastic. It gets you close with locals. They show you around. They're not doing this for money. They're doing this purely because they're passionate about their city. In terms of coverage, there was 35 million impressions on the This is Athens hashtag. There was 155 pieces of content. But the best and most exciting thing that came out of all of the coverage was this feature by the Guardian newspaper a few months ago, where they named the This is Athens walking tour as the best walking tour in the world. And that was partially due to the coverage we generated from the campaign. And that created a huge surge of newspaper interest, both domestically in Greece and internationally. So one of the takeaways that you can take away for your own company, your own destination, is whenever you bring bloggers, passionate people like me, happy, smiley people, and you put them with locals, you have this amazing power. You can activate these niche communities that exist within your destination. Because if you don't activate and engage your locals, you're not gonna create a groundswell of support. And charity really starts at home when it comes to marketing your destination. So you really got to get your locals involved. This is another project that I'm personally involved in as the budget traveler. I love hostels, but I realize that a lot of people don't like hostels. They have a very negative image of hostels. So I created this project called the Luxury Hostels Guidebook, which you can download from my blog for free. And I did this in partnership with Hostel World, and I went to over 45 cities last year, and I did a guidebook which I've just mentioned you can download for free. So if any of you have never been to a hostel, maybe seeing this video might convince you to go to a hostel. So who of you might be tempted to go to a hostel after seeing that? Some of you? Yeah? Curious? Download the book. But in these hostels you can find everything. You saw swimming pools, restaurants, cinemas, ball pits, experiences. That's what today's traveler is looking for. And it's been really, really popular and successful. This is another little project that a friend of mine called Nadine Brendel, she is very passionate about this wonderful place in Salzkammer, near Salzburg, called Bad Gastein. She went to the place, went skiing, fell in love with the place. It's an old spa town. It has a wealth of beautiful Belle Epoque architecture. And she realized that locals were not really passionate about Bad Gastein. And there was this kind of, I guess, weary feeling that you often experience in these old classic spa towns. She noticed that there were lots of benches spread across the town where you could sit, admire the architecture, look into the valley, and she felt that it was quite romantic. So she came up with this hashtag, which she called Bad Gastein for Lovers. And these are some pictures of Bad Gastein and how it's inspired some very romantic moments, as you can see. And it's amazing, after this hashtag started, it's only just started very recently, they've already had 3 weddings in the city. People who are interested in this old faded glory, because that's something as humans we kind of identify a bit with imperfect places, but that are pretty but imperfect at the same time. And I think Bad Gastein has that. And I thought that's a really smart, small project, no tourism board officially involved. It's just a simple idea from a passionate local. And she started this campaign working with local hotel providers. And that's the first wedding they had in front of I don't know the name of the building, but I think somebody from Bad Gastein might be here, might help me out, but nobody's here. But I thought it's a creative and very simple idea. I'm going to finish off now with one of my favorite storytellers in the whole blogging world. Is 2 guys called Alexis and Ben they're called Hedgerama. Unfortunately, they have stopped blogging. And one of the reasons I think they stopped blogging was because they said they were fed up with working with destinations trying to tell them what to write. And I think it's a shame because these guys had some really creative, amazing ideas, including this one, which was the Flemish Rabbit. If none of you have never seen a Flemish rabbit, that is a real rabbit. And it's as big as that dog. It's giant. And it's like a bit of an urban myth. Many people look at that picture of the Flemish rabbit and say, nah, that's just Photoshop. That really can't exist. It must be from a different planet, or somebody must have done something to the rabbit. But these actually exist. But no videos have ever been taken about the Flemish rabbit. So this is the trail of it. Just Google Flemish Rabbit Quest if you want to see the whole video of it.
Et j'aurai ma télé.
Bonjour.
Gros lapin.
Là-bas.
Là?
Ouais.
Show you there, it's the trailer, so you'll have to click and see what these rabbits look like in real life. But I thought it's a very creative, very original idea, not very obscure, very niche, but again, it's this whole concept of adventure and experience is what today's youth is looking for. So I'm going to finish basically off my talk. I think the blogging word, the influencer word is getting a bit dull and boring. We need to rethink the way we think of bloggers and influencers. Content creators is one thing, but I don't think we just create content. I like one way I like to think of destinations and brands is that you guys know the destination, know the brand. You guys create the experience. That's what you guys do. You create the experience for your destination, for your tourists. And what I think bloggers and influencers do really well is that we go into your destination and we gather all these amazing stories and experiences and we document it on different formats, on mobile, on video, through words. And that's where I think the relationship should be going forward. So, if you're interested in working with bloggers and you haven't yet, check the iAmbassador page. We have a white paper that we produced, Toposophy and iAmbassador together. We have an annual conference called the Social Travel Summit, which is going to be held in Austria in Kitzbühel in September. If you're interested in details, go over to the iAmbassador stand and you'll find the details. And then on Toposophy, we have a whole range of very exciting, in-depth research on everything from influencer marketing to place branding to sharing economy. And all that content is there free for you to have a look. And I've written this article about how DMOs can improve their blogger-influencer relations. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for coming in the morning. And I hope you enjoyed it. We have I think only 1 minute or 2 minutes left, so if anybody would like to ask me a question, this is your chance. I guess not. Anybody wants to ask a question? No? You're all happy, satisfied?
What's your inspiration of doing all of these things?
What's my inspiration?
Yes.
For
Doing all those things.
my inspiration is that I want to make people travel better. I want them to feel excited when they go traveling. I want to make them see travel differently. I think that's what all of us as content bloggers we do, is that we want to make people think differently, because if we don't change the perspective, I don't think we're doing our job. So my interest is hostels. That's what I love. I love hostels. I love people. That, for me, tourism is a people's business. That's why I love working in this industry. Any more questions? Are we up? Do I have to run away now? I don't want to leave you. It's just like we're having this great time here. But please, if you have any questions, come and grab me later. And thank you again for coming along. And have a great ITB.